to play the Mystery of History game show.
Hello, welcome to the Mystery of History game show. Tonight, we have a very special guest with the Second Great Awakening in America. This was a huge religious reformation, and we have a Mormon team and a preacher team from the Desert Zion in Utah prepared for a very special show.
My name is Joseph Smith. I am the creator of the Mormon faith. I brought forth the Book of Mormon, restored the priesthood, revealed precious gospel truths, organized the true church of Jesus Christ, and established temple work. The Lord chose me to be his prophet and to restore the gospel of Jesus Christ and his church to the earth.
Hello everyone, I am Brigham Young, the second leader of the Mormon faith. After the unfortunate murder of Joseph, I took over the religion and turned it from a crumbling one into a prosperous and powerful one. I am aggressive and ready to win this game! Woo!
Brigham Young, a towering figure in Mormonism, began his professional career as a carpenter and painter. Born in 1801 into a poor Vermont farming family, Brigham Young was the ninth of 11 children. At age 16, Young left home to start a career as a carpenter, painter, and farmer. He married his first wife in 1824, and in 1829, the couple moved to Minden, New York, which was close to the city where Joseph Smith was in the final stages of preparing the Book of Mormon. Although he had converted to Methodism in 1823, Young was drawn towards Smith's newly formed church called the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints from his first encounter with the Book of Mormon in 1830. 2 years later, he was baptized into the Mormon Church and became a missionary. The rest of Young's life was spent in service to the Mormon Church. Brigham Young helped support Joseph Smith against the hostile communities that drove Mormons out of their territories. He carried the Mormon message to England in 1840, gaining many converts among the urban working class. By 1841, his devotion had impressed Joseph Smith so much that Young was made the president of the Quorum of 12 Apostles, the governing body of the church, second in power only to the Mormon leader. When Joseph Smith was murdered by an anti-Mormon mob in 1844, Brigham Young was on the East Coast gathering converts and raising money for the construction of an enormous temple. On his return, Young played a critical role in keeping the persecuted church together. He gathered them to move westwards towards Nebraska. Young hoped that Mormons would at least find the freedom to worship and live as they pleased.
Hello, I'm Peter Cartwright, and I'm a traveling preacher for the Methodist Episcopal Church. There were many times I had to go without food due to my low wage. Because of this, my family had to sleep in the open one night. We were woken up by a fallen log that had crushed my daughter. It was quite the traumatic experience, but to be honest with you, man, I'm ready to play the game.
Hello, my name is Charles Finney. At age 29, I woke up questioning the religious life around me. I rejected the Calvinist teachings, and I progressed with American evangelism. I'm ready to win it.
The Second Great Awakening starts in Kentucky and Tennessee with a series of quite spectacular, emotional frontier revivals. The fellow who is to the Second Great Awakening what George Whitefield was to the first is a former lawyer turned Presbyterian minister by the name of Charles Finney. It is Finney who is the great impresario of revivalism. In fact, he even writes a book on the subject about how, quite specifically, you go into a town and do your advance work and then proceed to conduct your revival. So Finney is a fascinating character, a rationalist and an empiricist in a sense, who really believes that you can do certain things quite scientifically to create an upswelling of religious enthusiasm.
All right, looks like everybody's ready to verse. So, first question, what brought forth the Second Great Awakening?
Well, once everyone started saying goodbye to Christianity, many other religions spewed from rationalist and deism ideals, such as the Unitarian faith. This changed the overall fundamentals of the American religion.
Ding, 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 that's correct. 300 points for Team Mormon.
Ha! Eat it, twerps!
Listen. Let's keep this civil, okay? Now, what's Unitarian faith? Because I have no clue.
Unitarians believe God existed in one person. They did not believe in the Orthodox Trinity, stressed the goodness of human nature, believed in free will and salvation through good work.
Woo! 400 points for Team Preachers! Now the next question is, the third question. What is deism's involvement in politics?
Deism is present in politics with Thomas Paine's Age of Reason spreading deist ideas. The Founding Fathers agreed with the deist ideal to keep religion out of politics, which ultimately helped the nation.
That's right, another 400 points for Team Mormon. Now, the next question is a little bit more tricky. Who reaped the most benefit from revivalism?
My religion, Methodism, and baptism reaped the most benefits, with the most people converting to our religions. This was due to my amazing preaching, of course.
And don't forget camp meetings. These large gatherings brought many people to both religions and inspired many to convert.
Second Great Awakening, which is a couple of decades later. And then it's a different style of American revivalism, really. It's sort of new measure revivalism. And that's associated with Finney particularly, who has an enormous impact, of course, in America, but also in England, and I think he probably would have done in Wales as well, if he hadn't been prevented by the language barrier, because really to get revivalism going in Wales at this point, you needed to be a Welsh speaker.
All right, and that's another 500 points for the Preachers. Now, who named the burned over district?
That was me, Charles Finney. Western New York was filled with Puritans who preached about hellfire and brimstone. I, a revivalist, came out of this area and named it the Burned Over District, because Puritans no longer had the fuel to burn or convert people to their religion.
The Second Great Awakening. The Second Great Awakening was a religious revival movement during the early 19th century in the United States. It began in about 1790 and lasted till about 1840. It started as a reaction to the growth and popularity of science and rationalism, and to the growing liberalism in religion. Timothy Dwight became president of Yale College. Yale was seen as a center of secular thought, but Dwight supported sermons that brought religious revival to Yale's student body, and the word spread. The Second Great Awakening portrayed God as a benevolent and compassionate ruler who wanted salvation for man, rather than as an angry, vengeful God. The movement spread through camp meetings. It was during these camp meetings that you saw people speaking in tongues or having convulsive fits due to religious ecstasy. These physical signs and conversions further fueled the religious zeal that was consuming the country. Awakening spread the ranks of various Christian denominations from Baptist to Methodist, and many new denominations began. Charles Grandison Finney was an American Presbyterian minister and leader in the Second Great Awakening. He's been called the father of modern revivalism. Peter Cartwright was a Methodist revivalist in the Midwest who helped start the Second Great Awakening, personally baptizing 12,000 converts. Reform movements were born in the aftermath of the revival as anti-slavery movements, women's suffrage, and temperance rose along with the wave of piety. You know now about the Second Great Awakening.
Another great answer. 500 points for Team Preachers. Now, what effect did anti-polygamy laws have on Utah?
Us Mormons have been persecuted for many years, and even still today, just because we want more than one wife. Yes, we practice polygamy, and this prevented Utah from becoming a state for 10 years.
In the 1800s, polygamy was practiced in the LDS Church because of what Mormons believe was a revelation given to the prophet Joseph Smith at the time. Now, it's interesting to note that in biblical times, polygamy was permitted to be practiced during some times, like with Abraham or Jacob, but then in other times, it was not permitted, like in the New Testament days. But there really is no official reason that is described in the Bible, so we kind of take it on faith. Now, similarly, during the 19th century, for about a 50-year period, Mormons believe God commanded some Mormons to practice polygamy, and there were 3 reasons given specifically for that. The first reason was an ancient practice needed to be restored in order to fulfill a prophecy. So that was the first reason given. The second reason was that God wanted to help jumpstart membership in the LDS Church because we believe that we're a restored church from ancient times, and that He wanted to create more members, and if there's more women who are married and having children, then there's more membership. So that was reason number 2. Regarding reason number 3, Mormons believe that while you don't have to be married to go to the celestial kingdom, which is the highest kingdom of heaven, within that celestial kingdom, and you can find more information about that in my after death video, by the way, but within the celestial kingdom there are varying degrees, and the top degree can only be obtained by those who are married. Polygamy allowed more women specifically the opportunity to reach the highest kingdom, which anticipated a shortage of worthy men, I guess. So that was the third reason given.
Well, that's interesting, but on the bright side, you did just score 500 points. Now, why did the Mormons move from Illinois to Utah?
Oh, I know. It's the potato crop.
Oh no, honey. Now the Mormons get to steal.
Due to the persecution we faced, we had to move out of Illinois. The desert was also an extremely difficult environment to grow crops in, so we had to take action before we faced starvation.
Oh, well, with that, the Mormons are in the lead, and that means that they win. Good job. Let's wrap this up. I have a Tinder date in 10 minutes. So that means that thank you for watching this week with the Mystery History Show Religious Revival Edition. Next week, we have our Celebrity Edition. I'm very excited. We're having Lola and Oprah Winfrey. See you next time.